Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Kudo Talks. This is basically a podcast designed to talk about the beautiful game and share some insights and analysis about the game that we love so much. This is one of the first podcasts in the region, and I hope that it serves as a stimulus for the development of the game in this region. So let's not waste further time and jump straight to the topic, which is the Champions League final. We all know it's Manchester City versus Inter Milan. To Pep, it means so much more than anybody else. It is the last thing that remains in his locker since he's left Barcelona. So let's start with positional play and what it means to Pep Guardiola. So there is this very famous incident with Thierry Henry, as explained by himself. Pep's positional play is all about staying in your position and just letting everybody else do what they are there to do. For example, Thierry Henry in a Pep's Barca, he left his position. He went into the mid zone, into the center of the pitch, and he somehow managed to score a goal. But even after he scored, Pep was extremely angry. He was livid with Thierry Henry just because he had left his position and was interfering with the midfield for that Iniesta, Xavi, Busquets, and Messi dropped in to make that midfield for Diamond. And surprisingly, even after scoring, Henry was subbed off at halftime. This is Pep. He does not care about winning. He just wants to see what he wants to see. Usko, yes, it is a debate that he has changed now. He has evolved since he's been in England. He has learned from his mistakes. For example, one such example that I've seen him evolving, last year's Champions League semi-final against Real Madrid, 2 goals की lead है, comfortable हैं, but still they're playing their football. What any other manager at that time would do is you're leading 2-0 away at the Bernabeu. You just do all the nitty gritty. You go to the corner flag, you waste your time, you somehow run the clock off, you fall down to the ground, you take a breather, you somehow manage to break the rhythm. I feel मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि पेप हमेशा से गेम मैनेजमेंट लैक करता था, बट देन अगेन why I say he is evolved is because अब इस दफ़ा का अगर आप क्वार्टर फाइनल देखें, सेकेंड लेग obviously City had a huge win in the first leg against Bayern, and then second leg he completely had a different setup of his team. His team was set up defensively, or it was very unlike a Pep's team. Let's talk about the first team that I personally believe will play on Saturday. I think the first name on a Pep's team sheet are the left wing and the right wing. I mean, they are the most important positions in Pep's mind. I mean, it does not make a difference who the striker is, really, to be honest with you. And then I personally think it's the keeper, because it always starts with the keeper. His build up is always about building up from the back. Uske alawa, I don't think there is much difference between Champions League 2021 final and the final that is on Saturday. The reason is Chelsea was not the favorite in 2021. Similarly, Inter भी इस वक्त favorite बिल्कुल भी नहीं है. City were the favorites. City were the better team. City were the better team on paper आज से 2 साल पहले के फाइनल में, और इस दफ़ा भी इस फाइनल में भी City are way better on paper, in form, the titles they have won, the league position, obviously they've topped Premier League. Inter Milan अपनी लीग में थर्ड है, they've finished third, and they've won the FA Cup as well, and this is really Inter's only chance to make a good season, a great season. You've got to believe in your team, Pep. The team that won you the semi-final against Real Madrid, the team that has won you the league, the team that has won you the FA Cup. Just go with it. Do not overthink. He has a knack. We obviously we all know. It's in the history books. Any cup final or the other semi-finals and quarterfinals, Pep always has something extra, something different, and he demands something different from his players. Is it because he thinks he can surprise the opponents? I don't know. Personally, I don't think so. क्या सरप्राइज पैकेज हो सकता है मैन सिटी की टीम के लिए? आई पर्सनली थिंक Alvarez is a big name, but obviously hasn't played that much for City. But to bench him in a final, given that he's obviously won the World Cup, I personally think if somehow Pep is overthinking right now, he has Alvarez in his plans. A 4-4-2, a conventional 4-4-2. Obviously, it's different with the build up and the way they transition and the way they play with the ball, because 75-80% of the times, no matter what opposition it is, City are playing in possession. So I personally believe Alvarez could be the surprise package. Two strikers up front. Also because Inter play with three centre backs, so maybe he feels the need to play the second striker. Are we all sleeping on Inter Milan? I mean, there's been these talks about City. सब बातें कर रहे हैं City कितनी restrictive है. हर बंदा यही बात करता है कि City at the moment is unplayable. But Inter are in the Champions League final. They are there for a reason. Yes, उनका relatively बहुत easier draw था. Obviously, Man City had Bayern, and then in the semi-final they had Real Madrid. Inter had Benfica in the quarters, and then they had AC Milan. Relatively easier draw, but to get to the final, it is a big achievement. Let's not sleep on Inter. Simone Inzaghi is a beautiful tactician. His team are the underdogs. If they somehow manage to turn up for the game, if they somehow can feel what it's like to play in the final, and somehow get the feel of the ball, somehow get the rhythm into the game, I think it can be a beautiful game of football to watch from a neutral point of view, obviously. Inter should not risk it in their build-up, especially with City's counter-pressing. It's a no-go area. I mean, Inter have Edin Dzeko, a long ball to him, you can easily win the second ball, and then you can attack. To play the ball from the back, from the keeper, I don't think it's a good idea. They must rely on transitions. They must respect the opposition. They must enter the field in respect and defend in numbers and just wait for the opportunity. मेरा ये मानना है कि 10 से 12, 10 से 15 मिनट in each half they can have the ball. Obviously City is just too good to take the ball off from, but 10 से 12 मिनट they will have their chance. It's a final. Maybe इससे ज़्यादा हो, maybe इससे कम हो, लेकिन if somehow City can play, if City do manage to play the game like the way they do, it's pretty difficult कि उससे 10 से 15 मिनट से ज़्यादा each half में इंटर को बॉल मिले. इसी वजह से मेरा ये मानना है कि the first goal is extremely crucial. If Inter can score the first goal, they can then play their way. And in contrast, if City score the first goal, I personally believe it is game over. Inter will then have to find a way to score the goal, obviously to come back into the game. और तब असल मुश्किलात पैदा करती है City just because of their counter pressing. Let's not forget the impact of set pieces in a football game. Inter Milan must make the most of their opportunities from set pieces, given their exceptional aerial ability and physicality. For example, Edin Dzeko is great in the air. Inter Milan's three central defenders, Darmian, Acerbi, and Bastoni, must be aware of the threat that City possess with long range efforts, especially from Gundogan and De Bruyne. As we saw in the FA Cup final and what we saw against Real Madrid first leg, vertical passing ends up with De Bruyne. Beautiful outer. What an amazing goal. It's not something new for De Bruyne or Gundogan. They must stop them. In conclusion, I believe it's a 50-50 जैसे कि हर एक फुटबॉल फाइनल होता है. सिटी पे कहीं ज़्यादा प्रेशर है and this Champions League is City's to lose. Although I believe कि they deserve to win और अगर वो जीतते हैं तो it would be the cherry on the top. I just wish it's not a Liverpool versus Tottenham final. It's just not like that game. I hope it's a beautiful game to watch and may the best team win. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.